All right, so I want to go ahead and just dive in to give you the review as far as the Invincible show. So I finally seen all three seasons and everything, and I'm definitely ready for Invincible season 4. So with that starting off, I want to go ahead and talk about season 1. So I feel like season 1 is very perfect as far as like Invincible the character. Now, I really like Mark. I really like his character. I really like how he ends up standing up and actually becoming the hero and everything. Now, I will admit when he first happened to get his powers and he happened to be invincible and stuff like that, he was getting his butt kicked a lot. Like real talk, he was getting his butt kicked a lot all the way up into like season 2, of course. Like season 3, it was a whole bit different story. He was actually be able to learn how to get better with his fighting skills and stuff like that. But in like seasons 1 and 2, he was definitely getting his butt kicked a lot. But I enjoyed him because I knew that what he was capable of of wanting to be a hero and wanting to like save humanity and whatnot, especially the city that he lived in, and he know what he was doing it for. Now his dad on the other hand, which was Omni-Man. Now Omni-Man, of course, now I was with him up until like the later seasons of season 1 and everything. Now, and the reason why I say that, because in this show it does has its dark moments and everything or whatnot, and the way his dad went about with him teaching his son as far as like him being a virtual mind and stuff like that, I could not follow up after that. It would just I lost all interest for Omni-Man. I did not care for Omni-Man. Now, don't get me wrong, Omni-Man is very, very powerful. He's extremely powerful, and I still think that Mark still got ways to go to actually go toe to toe with his dad and everything. But overall, I still think he can battle up against him, with what he's learned now that he's more experienced, from seeing him in season 3 and everything. But long story short though, guys, yeah, it was really deep. And like I say, it really had some dark moments and everything, and seeing how, what Omni-Man, who he really was and everything. He wasn't even, for Mark's mom or anything else. He had a whole entire another life and everything. And so, yeah, that was just, it really set a tone for like different things. It really changed a lot, and it was just so different. But like I say, it was very interesting to watch the show. It really had me glued for the entire time. Now, as far as like going into season 2, now we know season 2, of course, that he was already in a relationship with his girl Amber, of course, and now him and Amber, they was already having problems, of course, when he happened to have his powers. And then of course he didn't want to tell her that he was invincible and everything, because he thought not telling her it's like a safe place for him, for her not knowing. But they was still like, they was trying to make it work, but it still wasn't working because of course with him being a hero, he was always busy all the time and stuff like that, with school and being there for his mom and saving the worlds and stuff like that. So we know that the relationship wasn't gonna work. Now, I will admit, now at times I'm gonna be honest. Now, I did not care for Amber up until season 2. So season 2, she kind of like grew on me a bit, but still she knew what he was really dealing with once he was able to reveal who he was and everything. But even so, it was still, it was just hard to able to balance that out. Now, this is where I always felt that Adam Eve was the perfect match for him, because Adam Eve, of course, know how it is, dealing with having superpowers and stuff like that, and knowing that the different struggles that Mark was with. So I'm really glad that Mark was finally able to, get with Adam Eve, and I really do feel like they're the perfect match. Hopefully, they leave that, they continue to stay together in season 4, and that they don't break up, because that will hurt me a bit if they happen to do break up and everything. But like I said, guys, I really love this show. I really love the Invincible character. I think he's an incredible character, and like I said, it really has some really dark episodes at times and stuff like that. I do want to talk about a little bit more about season 2. So we know in season 2, of course, that he's with the Guardians, and he was in college, but he ended up leaving college because he felt that it wasn't good for him. As far as like with the whole Guardians and stuff like that. Now, they was like, so the Guardians, they're a good team, but I just feel like they just not as strong like they should be. And even in season 3, when it comes to them facing these villains, it's hard for them to like trying to take on these incredibly, extremely strong villains at that, so it really made it tough on them. So that's where Mark comes in, and he's able to, step his game up and able to face these battles and stuff like that and everything, but yeah, I really feel like season 2 really has some things to deliver and everything, because, like I said, it was dealing with enjoy, him being with the Guardians, but then of course he ended up breaking up from being with the Guardians and stuff like that because he couldn't deal with Cecil no more once Boomerang came into the play and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just a lot going on. Then of course, Mark ended up finding out that he has a little brother and everything once he goes off to another world or whatnot to save these aliens and everything. And yeah, it became the whole entire thing. So he realized what his dad actually did. How he ended up ditching him, not only his son but also his wife as well too. And yeah, it just kind of sucks to really just see that. But overall, I'm glad that that Mark is finally training them, and getting them into shape. Now, I will admit, his brother, he is powerful. From that one episode that we seen, that I happened to see when he happened to killing them that one villain, it was like the two blue villains or something like that. That was something different. I was just not expecting that. So little man he really is strong. You know what I'm saying? So I'm quite sure we probably see a little bit of more of that probably going towards season 4 and everything. So we just have to see what direction they really went into with it, but yeah, like I said, guys, amazing show. Season 3, I really feel like season 3 was the best one because like I said, that's what Mark was able to learn about his powers and stuff like that, and he was just able to step up his game, and even though the Guardians and stuff ended up breaking up, a lot of stuff happened. Rex ended up dying, a lot of stuff really happened in season 3. So yeah, season 3 really got deep, and then of course we had the guy, of course they had the lightning powers. He was kind of like Electro and everything, and of course he was just standing up to fight the battles for the loss of his auntie, and I believe it was his daughter or something like that, or it could have been his auntie and his sister. It was something like that, but I believe it was just his relatives and everything. But he ended up losing them in that battle from when Bark, of course, was fighting his dad, Omni-Man, and whatnot. And yeah, old dude felt some type of way. But overall, I just felt that he just had a lot of pain that he was really dealing with, and he happened to want to, take that out on Mark and everything, blaming it on him, which, of course, I don't really blame him through that, so it was like he had to relive that trauma that he was technically going through again, especially when he ended up fighting my mans that was always teleporting him through different universes, so yeah, like Mark just had a lot on his hands, especially in season 3 when he was going up against them variants of himself and everything. So yeah, it was really an all-out war. It was kind of like watching Infinity War, but in an animation show, of course, But yeah, like I said, guys, a great show, top tier show. I'm glad I was able to watch it, and I'm definitely looking forward to season 4. But let me know what you actually think about the show in the comment section down below. What were some of your favorite moments, scenes, stuff like that in the show? Let me know in the comment section down below. Of course, you can always like, share, and subscribe here at Iconic Entertainment for all the newest updates when it comes to Marvel content, DC content, wrestling content, and I'm out.